Hi, my name is Joy Kauf, and welcome to my series called Messages of Joy. And today it is my honor to be interviewing Sheena Metal. Hi, Sheena.
Hi. I love the title, Messages of Joy. I'm all about joy.
So, Sheena is a spiritual counselor, an intuitive, and an emotional empath. But what I really want to focus on today is she specializes in personal vibrational motivation. So, how did you get started in personal vibration motivation? And tell us a little bit about it.
Well, so I obviously have my whole life had gifts. My mother was a very talented psychic medium, so I inherited it. Not until after a near-death experience. So I kind of kept it on the down low. I work as a talk radio host in Los Angeles, so I just used it in what I did through my art and through my work. And then when my mom died in 2011, and I wanted to do something to sort of carry on her spiritual gifts and honor her work so that it wouldn't end with her. And I wasn't sure what that was going to be. And then on November 9th, we had a presidential election. Results came in on that day. That was her birthday. I saw a lot of my friends fighting back and forth. And I realized that all of the anger and the sarcasm and the worry and the stress and the depression and the anxiety is lowering everyone's personal vibration, which is in fact then lowering the vibration of the nation and the world. So because that was my mother's birthday, I started a movement of peace, love, kindness, and unity called I Am Raising the Vibration of the Nation and the World, hoping that I could get other people on board to do the same. And the movement took off really fast, much faster than I thought it would. And I just sort of followed divine guidance through the entire process. And that was November 9th, 2016. So in the summer of 2016, I got another divine guidance and universal download that I should make it a nonprofit and that I should become a minister, which I did. I'm a deacon at American Trinity University now, interfaith, and that I should start a coaching business where I help people raise their vibrations so that they can help to raise the whole. And, I think now, as long as I've been involved in really sort of being what my friends like to call me, the vibration girl, I realize now that our vibration is really the core of everything with us. It's how we spiritually resonate on a three-dimensional plane. So every one of us has the opportunity to make our lives better and to make the world better every day, simply by finding ways to lift our own vibration. And it's not a hard thing. Nobody expects you to go from a lower vibration to a high vibration in 5 minutes. It's just implementing little things during your day that make the vibration higher. And then you're also putting that joy and that positivity and that light and that warmth into the world. Also, your internal vibration not only becomes raised through things that you do in the external world, but also through the work you do on yourself to become a happier, more centered person, and to really let your soul sort of take over for your brain and make your spirituality the most important thing that then guides your emotionality and in turn your physicality. So it's kind of really all about vibration. And I think a lot of people think that they're raising their vibration by doing certain things, and they just don't realize that angry tweets and gossip and drama and chaos, to me these are all things created by darkness and not by light. And by eliminating a lot of that stuff from your life, it's amazing how fast your vibration raises. And it doesn't mean that you can't still be funny, be sarcastic, watch Saturday Night Live and laugh, read a political cartoon and laugh. Nobody expects you to be like super pious. But I think we've gotten stuck in this rut of drama and chaos and addicted to reading things on the internet. And we just need to pull away from that and ground a little bit more into our souls and our spirituality and lock in better to the universe.
So it's like walking the walk.
It is very much walking the walk. It is walking the walk. Yeah. And it's just walking the walk a little bit at a time. I mean, like any other change you make in your life, it's a little bit at a time. One day you decide I'm going to quit sugar today, or I'm going to quit soda today. And the next day you decide, that's how you get the road to physical health, right? I'm going to exercise a little bit more today. Tomorrow I might quit processed things, or I might quit bad carbs or whatever. Nobody expects you to do the whole thing at one time. And certainly I don't. But I think a lot of people, Joy, don't know where to start. They don't know how to begin. And it's really just about learning where to begin and also identifying the things in your life that are maybe not of the highest vibration, that you don't even realize you're doing it. And certainly I catch myself doing it all the time and then think, Sheena, you're the vibration girl. Stop. So, not allowed to anymore.
So when did you start working for you?
I started working professionally in the fall of 2014. That's sort of when I kind of came out, like I call it like a soft launch. And then more and more telling people, because I'm a public person, so I had to come on the air and start talking about all these gifts that I had always kept very private. So really I started working in 2014 professionally. And then when I started the movement in 2016, that's sort of when I fully came out, because I decided if I was really going to walk this walk of raising a vibration, part of that was no more secrets, no more closets, and people needed to know who I was. And I'm actually really amazed at how wonderful everybody in the entertainment business has been now, knowing that the whole while they were doing my radio show, I was clocking them psychically. They've actually been really fantastic about it. Everybody's been great, very supportive.
Let me ask you a question. How do you work to, I'll say the person who doesn't know what it is that you do? Like when you're in a restaurant and someone comes up to me and says, hey, what do you do professionally? How do you present yourself to them?
Well, I like to let them in. I like to ease them into it. I ease people into it. I have friends that are like, I'm a medium and grandma's right here. And they really just get on people. I'm much different than that. Mm-hmm. I think because I've been a talk radio host for almost 24 years. So I'm used to asking questions to people that I might not want to answer a question and get a great answer out of them. There's kind of a finesse to doing that. So I usually start by using the word intuitive.
Right.
And then if you respond well to that, then I sort of explain what an empath is. I find that the longer that I use my gifts and the more I use my gifts, which is more and more every day, I realize that really I'm an empath above all things. And that's the thing that I think is the hardest one to manage. And I think a lot of people are empaths and they don't know. I was doing an event in the desert here. I'm on the board of directors for a cultural arts foundation, and they did a fundraiser and they wanted me to do a radio broadcast. And I was there to kind of also represent my own nonprofit and to speak on behalf of the vibration. And I was interviewing these ladies that have a group called Veteran Sisters for Women who have PTSD after they've gotten out of the military. And this girl was telling me the story about how she was a combat photographer and they sent her to Iraq, and she was in this combat zone where there were still lots of the remains of the dead and different things where, murders had happened, and all of a sudden she just couldn't handle it. And then she got out of the military because of that, basically, and then became very depressed and very suicidal because the images of what she saw there were following her around. And we were on stage in front of a crowd of people, and I said, do you know you're an empath? And then had to explain to her what an empath was. But I couldn't not, because the universe was screaming at me, like, tell her she's an empath. So we talked after, and now we're corresponding through email, and we're going to get together and talk because, her whole life, she thought something was wrong with her. She thought she just couldn't handle it. Why can other people handle trauma and I can't? I think a lot of people are carrying around their own gifts, and that becomes a part of your vibration, and they don't really realize it. So sometimes when you come out about yourself and talk to people, it enables them to be okay about what's going on with them. And I think more and more as we evolve as a species, because we're such a baby species on a baby planet, we're becoming more and more aware that more of us have gifts that are opening up, right? The veil's thinning. And part of that is many of us are awakening to gifts, but many people don't know what their gifts are. So I find it's good to tell people, but then you have to ease people into everything. Mm-hmm. It's probably not what everybody says when you ask them, but that's what I do.
I totally agree. Most people, that's part of their sixth sense, is being an empath.
Yes.
When we talk about we have six senses, that's the other part of it, that we feel what other people are feeling, and we're very empathic and picking up on that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. How do you connect to spirit?
I just connect. To me, it's almost like I see it sort of like a sunroof that's up here. It's up here over my right shoulder. That's where I see it. And that's usually where spirits are too. When my mom comes to visit me, which does very often, I feel like she's sitting on my right shoulder. And it's sort of like it's always there, and you have the ability to open the portal or not, or at least I do. And I just kind of keep the hatch open all the time because I like to be connected to the universe all the time. And then it just sort of feels almost like a warm waterfall of light that just comes down and connects and just sort of implants into your brain and into your soul what you need to do next. Sometimes I hear voices, but mostly it's just like the message is put inside of me. And I mean, have I connected to angels? Sure. Do I connect to the dead? Absolutely. Have I been at channeling sessions and connected to off-world beings? Absolutely. But for me, it's a direct universal channel. And part of what I do through my vibrational motivation work is to show other people how they can do that too, because I think the universe is a part of us and the creator of us and inside of all of us, and really, 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 really wants us to 150% connect to it, them, they. It's us that stops that connection. And the higher that you raise your vibration, the easier it is to connect to the universe so that you can hear those messages too. It's about being plugged in and about getting rid of all the minutia that stops you from being plugged in. I always sort of use the analogy that it's like when you're vacuuming and your cord is like as stretched out as it can go. And if you vacuum forward, it pulls out and stops. But if you move it back, it plugs back in. Most of us at times in our life are kind of half plugged into the hole. And it's about finding a way to get more plugs. It's the best for our lives and for those around us in the three-dimensional world, but it's also what the universe wants.
Okay.
I think.
So if someone is planning a coaching session with you, is there something, what should they do to prepare themselves for that?
Oh, I like if they think about the things that they really want to talk about so that they can better utilize their time. If they don't, we can just wander through it, and that's fine with me too. But I like when people come with a direct look. This is what I want. I want to know what happened with the relationship with my mother and what she thinks now that she passed. I want to know why I'm depressed. I want to know how to get rid of this anxiety. I want to know why it is that I don't seem to be working out in relationships. I mean, I think it helps if people, because then people, that way you've already done a little bit of the work when you come, and you come with the open intention that you've thought about it, you're in the right place energetically, and you're ready to go. So I love that. But if somebody comes and just sits in front of me, like I do parties and, come sit in front of you, they're like, I don't know, tell me something. I mean, certainly we can do that too. But I think, especially in a wonderful place like yours, Joy, where people are there to get healed and to get enlightened and to get messages, as much work as you want to do before you get to me just means we can do that much more work when you're with me.
So what kind of workshops do you offer? Talk a little bit about the workshops that you offer.
I do a workshop just about raising your vibration, where I implement a lot of the sort of like personal vibrational motivation 101 things. I do workshops about how to implement positivity into your life. Glass half full, which is what I like to call it. People that looking at everything in your life as something positive so that you can then find a better way to fight the negative. I do workshops about, this is going to sound very Old Testament, but I do workshops about light versus dark, about how we can raise the light inside of us and then push back the darkness, because, there's not so great stuff out there and stuff happens to people. And it's about finding a way to stay positive in the face of negative things that happen. I mean, most of my work surrounds that. Even sometimes workshops about messages from people who have passed or from angels or from the universe. Usually the messages that I receive are about helping people to be their best them and helping people to get over the roadblocks in their life that are holding them back from being truly happy.
So I guess from what I'm hearing you say, it's about you teach people. One of my big things is about teaching people how to take their power back.
Yes.
Instead of being controlled by the life, how to control their life.
Yeah, exactly. And how to take it with joy, not just like, I think sometimes when people take their power back, they become very like, well, I've taken my power back now.
I'm aggressive.
That you have your power, but you seem miserable. So it's about how to take your power back in a way that you're not resentful of bad things that have happened, or not so light-filled beings that you've encountered. You're just letting them go with love. My best friend likes to say namaste away. And it's kind of like that, it's still
Right.
having peace within you, being okay that things happen, even if it's just things you did to yourself when your vibration wasn't that high. And then letting things go with love, and wishing everything well, but knowing what you want in your periphery and what you don't.
I know that we've all had times in our life where we may have thought in this situation we're in a really bad relationship. But when we turn around and look back at it, we go, wow, was that the best thing that could have happened to me? Because look at all the growth that I've done during this process.
Yes, the worst relationship I ever had was the best thing that ever happened to me, and the most I ever grew. You're absolutely right. And that's another world that I work in that moves into my spiritual world, is I work in the world of narcissistic abuse recovery. People who have been with folks that maybe were not light-filled at all, right, and finding a way to recover from that. It's a different kind of PTSD, right? To realize that you didn't cause it, but you need to stop the pattern of allowing it to continually affect your life. And that, all the things that I do, and all the workshops that I teach, Joy, and all the work that I do one-on-one with folks, it all basically comes down to that same kind of stuff: positivity, light, love, how to raise up your personal vibration. To me, it all is the same thing.
Perfect. I understand that.
I know, I'm all about joy, right? And your name is Joy, so I love you already.
So I just have one thing. Can you give us some of the feedback that you've received from some of your clients?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just tell us a couple of stories so we can, tell us a couple of stories of some clients that you've worked with.
Well, I have a client that really thought that he was suicidal, and thought that he had emotional problems, and had been on and off medication, had been in and out of psych wards, and didn't realize that what was really going on with him was that he had been damaged from a relationship that he hadn't recovered from, and that he needed to forgive himself, and realized that there wasn't anything wrong with him, except that he was just on the wrong track, and he needed to rewire his thinking and start thinking in a way that was positive, and start thinking in a way that was where he let a lot of old go. And he's doing fantastic. He's off medication, and he sees a therapist, which I think is great, because I think if you're seeing a spiritual counselor and you want to also see a therapist, I think that's fantastic. I come from a line of therapists. My grandmother was a psychologist. My mother was a therapist and a psychic. So I think that's fantastic. But he's now doing the piecemeal work of realizing that because something bad happened, or because he had a parent that was very troubled, or because he was in a relationship with a woman that was very troubled, it doesn't mean that he's cursed, or that he's bad, or that he's never going to get out of it, or that for whatever reason the universe has picked him to be like the Charlie Brown of the world. I mean, none of that is true, right? It's just that he let the bad actions of others put him in this rut that he wasn't getting himself out of. So that, to me, that's a success story, because it's nice to see him happy and to see him doing so well. The same thing with relationships. I have a client that thought that she was never going to be in a relationship, thought something was wrong with her, and nobody wanted her. And it was just, a lot of it was her thinking that she was so worried that it was going to get screwed up and that it wasn't going to happen, that she was sort of, in a way, putting the intention out to draw the wrong kind of people in. And she needed to learn to love herself first, be out of a relationship, really fall in love with herself, learn to do the work on herself to be happy, and to raise her vibration, and to grow her spirituality, and to spend some time sitting in her own skin. And then boom, of course, here comes the right person immediately. So I love those stories, because, as I said, I come from a line of therapists, so I grew up with helping all around me. And I just love people, and I just want to help people all the time. I know that makes me seem like the weirdest Pollyanna, and everybody always says, you shouldn't say that in interviews, but then I always do. Because, my friends hate me. Because I literally, if I could give every single person on the earth a hug, I would do it. Like, to me, helping people and making people feel happier is the most beautiful thing in the world. And I was raised by this gorgeous, ascended mastery sensei mother, who always made me feel like I was her Mona Lisa. So I still, even though she's passed, I carry all of that with me. So if I can take a little bit of how she always made me feel and share it with other people, then my work is done, her work is done, and everybody is happy. So I would like to rid the world of depression, anxiety, doubt. Wouldn't that be fantastic, Joy?
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. One person at a time, one day at a time.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Sheena. And I look forward to our conversations later on.
We're going to have a blast in September. Thank you so much. It was an honor. And I can't wait to have you on my radio show. We're going to do that.
Perfect.
I would love that. Thank you, Joy.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.